We like to have a lot of fun on the show.
And for insurance purposes, it's £8,500.
£400.
20 going twice. Gotta go guess what now?
Dead man walking.
This is what an antique expert looks like when he's just made a 300% profit.
At £100.
And this is another antique expert who's just made a 300% profit.
Raj, you're a genius.
And another 300%er. But what do antique experts look like at the other end of the spectrum, when the host of the show is mocking them?
If you'd never met Colin, you would have been up over £100.
When their team are making jokes about the items they've bought for them.
Look at me, look at the box, how much?
Well, I pay them £20 to take it away.
And what does it look like when your recommendations have just bombed in the sale room?
Oh my goodness.
That is the beauty of auctions. You know, you never can tell what things
Oh
when
my good
things are
Lord.
gonna happen.
Today, on this second episode of Antique Expert Expert, you're going to find out. So welcome to episode 2 of Antique Expert Expert. As I continue to determine which experts are fit for purpose and which experts are not. There are a lot of them out there. Some are very good and some of them not so much. But to genuinely answer the question of which antique experts are fit for purpose, we need to be able to compare their performances over time. And fortunately, Bargain Hunt, which is the UK's longest running factual entertainment programme, offers a structure in which we can genuinely compare who's doing the numbers and who's not doing the numbers. And because the show's format hasn't changed in 2,000 episodes, providing you have someone who has watched 900 of those episodes, the last 900, then we can put together a pretty accurate view and compare like for like performances over time. And so today's focus is going to be on season 64 of Bargain Hunt and the 10 worst bonus buys, which, if you haven't seen the programme, basically translates into the 10 buys made by experts themselves on the programme. So if you haven't seen Bargain Hunt, then not to worry. The simplicity of the show's format is arguably one of the reasons why it's been going so long. Essentially, you have two antique experts who are assigned two teams at the start of the show, and then they will go off in their respective teams and buy 3 items at antique fairs or in antique shops or antique warehouses. They'll buy 3 items to take to auction to sell, ideally for a profit. And the winning team is the team that makes the biggest profit or the smallest loss. Now, within that format, there is a little element called the bonus buy. And the bonus buy is a 4th item that's purchased exclusively by the antique expert themselves, where they go off on their own, off camera, and they will buy something that they think will benefit their teams at auction. And then when they get to auction stage, they'll reveal their bonus buy to the teams, and the teams can choose whether or not to proceed with it and put it under the hammer, or to reject it and not have it included in their profits for the day. And so what that means is that it places a lot of pressure on the antique expert, really, because this is something that they can stamp their own sort of signature on as an item that they believe, in all their years of experience and knowledge, will make the teams money. And then often the teams will reject it and it will make money, and they'll be cross. And sometimes the teams will accept the bonus buy and it will lose money, and they'll be cross. But that is the element of the show that we're focusing on today. And as I say, specifically, we're looking at season 64. So in terms of the experts that were participating in season 64, this is a map of all the experts who've been on Bargain Hunt since It was launched in March 2000, and then 2,100 episodes later, which is roughly sort of season 64 time, we have these experts who are participating in that series. And in that series, there were 34 episodes in total, one of which was a charity episode, which I don't cover. I'll cover that separately, which means that there are 33 episodes in which these experts were advising the teams and making their bonus buy purchases. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the 10 worst bonus buys for season 64, or rather the 10 purchases made exclusively by the antique experts themselves in season 64. And I'm going to show you them in the order in which they were broadcast. And then when we've seen those, you can determine in your minds, it's not mandatory, but you can determine which of those you think will make the biggest loss. And then we're going to actually show you which ones made the biggest loss, starting from the 10th, the worst, and the 10th worst, going right through to the actual worst bonus buy made in season 64. So let's get into it.
Category is 10 Worst Bonus Buys, Series 64.
First up was Stephanie Connell, and she was shopping in Norwich, and she bought a 9-carat gold amethyst and a split pearl ring. And her team responded very favourably upon first sight, making this sound.
Oh, I went away.
They didn't know at this stage, of course, that the ring was slightly damaged or how much it cost. But in principle, they liked the ring.
How much did you pay for it?
I paid 70.
Oh, okay.
So, ladies, are you going to go with it?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, I thought you were going to say that.
Up, it was Rue Irvin, and she was shopping in her native Scotland, up in Abernethy. And she found a team, an oak, chess and backgammon table with a Tudor theme. And her team made a very similar noise to Stephanie Connell's team, actually, when they saw it. It sounded like this. And similar to the ring, Rue Irvin admitted that there was some water damage to the table, which meant that she was able to get it under the £100 mark. What I will say is that if you ever see an antique dealer pull this face, she lacks confidence in what she's bought. But I think that was lost on the red team, and they decided that they were going to go with it anyway. Next up was Izzy Bauman. She bought them a Victorian white metal button hook for removing a lady's boots in the Victorian times.
So it's Victorian, as you know, button hook.
It's fair to say that they were less than enamoured by the purchase, particularly given that it was white metal and not silver.
The dealer said he'd tested it and it was silver.
It wasn't, it couldn't be corroborated as silver, and so it gets catalogued as white metal. And instantly, you're looking at a loss there, really, given that she spent £80 in it. So when asked...
So, gentlemen, is that a yes or a no? No. Okay.
So next up was Catherine Sutton, who has a good reputation when it comes to bonus buys. And all of that reputation went out the window on this occasion when she bought this prosthetic eye at the Peterborough Festival Antiques. So it's one thing to buy a prosthetic eye, it's another to spend £40 on it. And admittedly, she did look somewhat sheepish when she was asked by her team how much profit she thought was in the prosthetic eye. And she liked to think that it might make £50, but she certainly didn't look convinced. Nevertheless, her team were convinced that a prosthetic eye for £40 was an indicator that there might be some money to be made, and they went with it.
Well, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
Are you sure? Yeah.
They said. Okay, next up is Colin Young. He is an esteemed auctioneer in his own right and a regular on Bargain Hunt for the last 20 years as an expert. And he was shopping in Blackpool at an interesting place called the Regent. It's an Art Deco former cinema turned antique centre, and full of antiques, I believe. So in spite of the fact that it was full of antiques, for some reason Colin bought this bevel-edged Georgian mirror for £70.
Whoa. Wow.
Recognise that. Yeah, it was the picture of you.
I thought you might.
So the team were impressed with the bonus buy, presumably until they heard the price. Given that they had already lost over £100, they decided to go with it.
I think let's go with it.
Yeah, let's go. What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
What have we got to lose? Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
So next up was Charles Hanson, and he was shopping in Oswestry at the Oswestry Antique and Collectors Fair. He had a lot of money left over, £167, and he bought a trio of silver items, a silver snuffbox, a cheroot case, and a vesta case. And I have to admire the way he presented these to his team. We'll just listen in on that.
And then a gorgeous vesta case. So almost a plethora of silver box delights. Do you like it?
Yeah, they love it.
Plethora of silver, said Charles, even though everybody could see it was only 3 items. And the team were not very impressed. And when asked...
So what are you going to do, girls?
They said...
No, not going with the...
You sure? No faith in Hanson?
We love him, but no.
He was shopping again in Oswestry. It's a different episode, but at the same event. So Charles was in Oswestry. He had £152 left, and he spent £130 of it on this Georgian mule chest.
Do you like it?
No, Charles.
No.
If it was a bit longer, it could be a coffin, but...
Hold on.
It
hold
could
on.
be,
Let me
yeah.
get into
It
it,
could
Charles.
be, yeah.
Let me get into
Yeah.
it. No, basically, it's not a coffin.
It may be the nail in the coffin, yeah.
And it's fair to say that his team didn't quite get it. Nevertheless, Charles, the professional as ever, continues to sell it. Yes, so needless to say, when asked if they would be going with the bonus buy or not, they said no.
Look at me, look at the box, how much?
Well, I paid them £20 to take it away.
Okay, so next up was Catherine Sutton, who was clearly having an off day or an off week, and she bought a pair of plastic spectacles on a retractable cord, manifesting as a brooch, apparently.
I've never seen anything. No, I've never seen anything like this. So it's a little pair of spectacles with a brooch, so you pin your brooch on, and then it's telescopic.
Although it's not obvious to me as to how one might attach one's brooch to one's blouse.
That's different. It is different. And how much did you pay? I paid 40. It's 40. Do you think quite a lot? And I think there are collectors of spectacles, so I think it's a bit of a novelty thing. It's unusual. It could go either way.
But they were already so deep in the red that it didn't really make any difference.
Well, we might as well
Go for it.
Yeah,
Yes.
we might as well go for it.
Yeah. Sure. You going to go for it?
Yes.
Yeah. Unanimous decision?
Yes.
So next up was Colin Young, who was also making his second appearance in the top 10. Seems to be a small handful of collectors who got it wrong in season 64, and Colin was no exception. He had £131 left over at Lolly, and he spent £131 on this Staddle stone.
Oh! Nice bit of moss round it.
I love it.
The Staddle stone cost £131.
I think it should make £150, £180.
Yeah, that's what you said about the euro.
Well spotted.
I think Colin was hoping that at least 2 owners of granary houses with a rodent problem would be attending the same auction.
We won't lose £100 for that. So even if we only won £7. Okay. All right.
Definitely going for it.
We're going for it.
Wonderful.
Okay, next up was Rue again. another double entry into the top 10. She was shopping in Doon in Scotland, and she bought an 18-carat gold-plated sterling silver buckle-shaped ring.
Oh, we've got more bling. But this is 18-carat gold on silver with lots of tiny little diamonds in this lovely buckled belt shape.
Again, I think it had a little bit of damage. So we have a bit of a pattern here in season 64 with the experts who made the biggest losses, whereby they seem to have bought items that were either damaged or have been restored.
What do you think we'll get at auction? I'd like to think 80 to 120.
So Rue, again, with a little bit of damage to the ring, she had £135 and she spent half of it. She spent £67. Her team...
So, what are you thinking? Are you going to risk it?
Yeah, we'll go for it.
Are you sure I'm the difference between profit and loss?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, these guys bought damaged items, and as a result, the damaged items saw them end up in the bottom 10. We had Stephanie Connell with her 9-carat gold amethyst and split pearl ring. Then we had Rue with the oak chess and backgammon table. Then we had Izzy with the Victorian white metal, not silver, button hook. Had Catherine with her prosthetic eye. Colin with his Art Deco bevelled wall mirror. Charles with a plethora of silver. Charles again with his Georgian Georgian oak mule chest. Catherine with her bizarre retractable plastic spectacles brooch. Colin again with his Staddle stone. And then finally Rue with her 18-carat gold-plated sterling silver buckle-shaped ring with damage. Okay, there we have it. They were the 10 worst bonus buys for season 64. Have a think about which of those you think was the worst. And then we're now going to have a look to see which one actually was the worst. Starting with number 10.
Category is 10 Worst Bonus Buys. Series 64. 10th Worst Bonus Buy. Rue Irvine.
Rue Irvine had the 10th worst bonus buy, and it's gone under the hammer in Anita Manning's sale room in the Great Western Auctions up in Glasgow.
She thinks it'll make over £100.
Start me at £100. £50 then. 50 bid. Any advance in 50. 70. Online at £70. 80. Any advance in 80. £80.
Ninth Worst Bonus Buy. Catherine Southern.
So Catherine Southern had the 9th worst bonus buy, and we're moving to Lichfield and Winston's, where Richard Winston is about to auction Catherine's retractable plastic spectacles brooch.
Oh! Please don't.
The little plastic there, glasses with the handle. We're going to be for this one, £5 I've got already. £5 I'm bid. £10 I am bid at £10. £20 I am bid at £20. £20.
Oh, Catherine. That is unfortunate.
8th Worst Bonus Buy. Catherine Southern.
So Catherine Southern also had the 8th worst bonus buy, and that was the prosthetic eye, and it's about to go under the hammer again with Richard Winston up in Lichfield.
£5 I'm bid.
Come on, we need some fun on it.
£5 I'm bid. On the eye. £5 I am bid. Anyone else coming? £15. Oh, there we go.
7th Worst Bonus Buy. Charles Hanson.
So yes, Charles Hanson had the 7th worst bonus item with his trio of silver, and the auctioneer here is Matthew Tong, and that's up near Wrexham at Tongs.
£120. Start me. 120, 110, £100 then. And I've got 80 on the book. We can start at £80. £80 I've got. £90 I've got. £100. £100 I've got in the room. 20, thank you. 120 online. 140 I'm looking for now. 140 to go. Anybody want to go to £140? It's on the net. Are we in? 140 I've got. Anybody want to go to £150? 150 to go at £140. Fair warning.
Sixth worst bonus buy. Colin Young.
And so Colin Young's bevel-edged mirror was the fifth worst commercial decision made on Series 64. And I hasten to add, I have obviously been calling it a Georgian bevel-edge mirror, so I apologise for that. It was Art Deco, but nevertheless, it still isn't worth 75 quid. The auctioneer, incidentally, is John Cook of Gerrard's.
249B, the Art Deco wall mirror, showing there, £3 and 2 and 4 at 34, 36, 38 on commission at me. At £40 on commission, looking for 42. At £40.
Fifth worst bonus buy. Stephanie Connell.
So Stephanie Connell's ring was the sixth worst bonus buy of season 64. And we go now to the east of England and Dis for the auction, which is held at TW Gaze, and the auctioneer is Edward Taxel Webber.
Very wearable for 50, 40, £30, a lovely piece of jewellery then.
Well, you've got to sell it.
20, come on, 20 bid now, 20, let's get it a bit higher than this though. At 20, it's a lovely ring there for the money. Where are your bids? 22, 25, 28, 30 shakes the head then at £30. Any advance now at the 30, surely more.
Fourth worst bonus buy. Colin Young.
So Colin Young's Staddle Stone was the fourth worst commercial decision of season 64. And the auctioneer, who really genuinely attempts to reduce the loss on the item, is Tim Weeks from Wessex Auctions, who are based out near Bath.
Start me at 70 to get us going then. 70 and away. Start me at 50. 50 bid. 50, 70, 80, 85.
And about time too.
£90 here. Where's 95? Gents bid at 90. My gavel is raised. I sell at £90. Thank you.
Third worst bonus buy. Ruervine.
So we're back up to Glasgow for the third worst bonus buy of season 64, and that was Rue Irvine's ring. The auctioneer is, again, Anita Manning.
But Anita thinks you might have made the wrong decision. Oh! She says 20 to 40.
Oh,
that's
no way.
estimate. Here it comes.
It's a gold-plated sterling silver buckle-shaped ring with brilliant diamonds. Can we say £80, 80, 60, £40, £20 then?
Oh.
£20, 20 bid, 20 with you, sir. Any advance? £20, £20.
Oh!
Second worst bonus buy. Izzy Balmer.
So Izzy Balmer and her white metal button hook was the second worst commercial decision of the series, and the auctioneer here is Sean Devitt of Bamford's in Derby.
50.
Ooh. That's one of the best ones I've seen.
There you are.
What should we say for that? £40, start it quickly. 40, make it 30.
No.
Looks like you might have made the right decision.
UK bidder at £30, 5 now. At £30 only.
Well,
and
it's gotta
selling,
go.
mate. No mistake. At 30.
Oh.
I bet you're glad you didn't go for it.
Having bought for 80.
Worst bonus buy. Charles Hanson.
So Charles Hanson's oak mule chest was the worst buying decision of Series 64, and the auctioneer here who's going to confirm that is Matthew Tong of Tong's Auctions near Wrexham.
£100 to go. £100 to start me. Take it to 80. £60 to go there. £60 no money at all. And £50. £50 to go. You want to go? £50. Thank you. We all done. Live online. 60. £5 I'm looking for now. 65. 70. Are we all sure? In the room at £70.
Didn't go with it, so you stay with your £74 loss. Might be a winning score.
Might be.
So that concludes the review of the results. And of course, all actions have consequences. And the consequence of these guys' actions is to be awarded points, negative points in this instance, as it goes. And so these are the points that have just been earned by the experts, and they will be added to the, or rather subtracted from the points that I gave everybody in episode 1. And then they will produce our second week of Expert League rankings, which are on the screen for you now. So the result of those points is to punish the culprits and leave Charles Hanson propping up the league in 30th place. Most of the antique experts still got 0, and that's because they're waiting to be evaluated. And then, of course, Tim Weeks remains at the top on 10 points. And so that's it for episode 2 of Antique Expert Expert. I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you did, then remember to like and subscribe to make sure you're notified of the next exciting instalment. And I look forward to you joining me on my voyage of discovery as I continue to establish which antique experts are worth their salt and which are not, and therefore truly support the claim that whilst I may know nothing about antiques, there's nothing I don't know about antique experts.